pen. Gotta collect all the pages. Fast. Someone around here. There's gotta be one back here. This has gotta be the last one. I'm screwed.
Welcome back to the Creepypasta files. Today is going to be a little bit different. You see, Mutant APK suggested that I cover Slender Man on my next episode. Now, I'm well aware that some people don't necessarily consider Slender Man a creepypasta, but he's such a huge part of the online horror story community that I needed to cover him. So let's talk about what most people know about Slender Man. He's a tall, faceless figure who wears a suit and can grow long, tendril-like limbs at will. He is typically associated with messing with videos and photos, most prominently known with the static from the game, and his victims are usually children which he kidnaps or adults which he drives insane or kills. That is typically what people know about this character. But in researching this episode, I found it was very hard to find his origin. Now, I knew that he was created by Victor Surge on a forum post on the Something Awful forums, but I couldn't find the original images or story associated with him. Couldn't even find the original forum thread that he was created on at all. And when I finally did, all the images that were linked to these stories were gone. I couldn't seem to find them. Luckily, we have the Wayback Machine, which allowed me to look at old versions of each website. Now I could see all of the images that went along with the story that was being written. I went through every single post on the thread that Slender Man was created on to find all the original content created by Victor Surge. And I have it listed up here on my computer right now. And so the reason this is going to be a bit different is because instead of going on about a long scripted story about some of the events of what happened, and then a summary, and then an analysis, and a wrap-up, I'm going to go live through each post that I found to be important to the story that Victor Surge has posted himself. This is all from the original creator, and I'm going to go through them, and then discuss what I think. I haven't read every single one in detail, so let's take a look. Alright, let's start off with the first ever post. You've likely seen these images if you have any knowledge of Slender Man. The first image here is a group of children walking away of what appears to be some house in the woods. Behind them, there's a tall, slender figure, which appears to have no face. The quote that goes along with this image is, "We didn't want to go, we didn't want to kill them, but its persistent silence and outstretched arms horrified and comforted us at the same time." Sorry, I'm not going to be speaking perfectly because, once again, this is live. This is not scripted. 1983, photographer unknown, presumed dead. Here's another image, some children on playground equipment, and there we have Slender Man, now with the tentacles. One of the two recovered photographs from the Sterling City Library blaze, notable for being taken the day which 14 children vanished and for what is referred to as the Slender Man. Deformity cited as film defects by officials. Fire at library occurred 1 week later. Actual photograph confiscated as evidence. 1986, photographer, Mary Thomas, missing since June 13th, 1986. Alright, the next post by Victor Surge is at the bottom of this page. Victor Surge says, "Maybe I'll do some more research. I've heard there may be a couple more legit Slender Man photographs out there. I'll post them if I find them. Also, seconding the 20s time traveler picture as awesome." This is likely talking about something else in the thread, but here we see almost an ARG. Victor Surge is acting as if these are real and not created by him, although he does elaborate how he made them later on the post. But this is where the story is. The story is Victor Surge trying to find more about this Slender Man. Alright, next image. Here we have a picture. You can see a hunter down here, and you can see Slender Man, who almost blends in too well with the trees. The caption is Steinman Woods. Both subjects were hunting in Steinman Woods for 4 hours before sundown. Surviving subject states that while hunting, both men grew uneasy as the fog levels rapidly increased. A constant murmuring sound accompanied by a low hum eventually became apparent to the two men an hour after the fog increased. An object falling out of a tree struck one of the men on the left shoulder, causing him to discharge his weapon. Object said to be the body of a man of unknown age. It was very precisely dissected, with major internal organs still contained within rib cage in what looked to be clear bags. Surviving subject placed organ bag within backpack. Attack followed several minutes later after a low children's laugh like a giggle. Well, so if you guys don't hear the yummy construction noise. Surviving subject ran until he reached his vehicle. Subject then drove to assumed safety. Backpack destroyed. Surviving subject is classified as B7 witness. B7 witness is placed in a quarantine blind box until resolution. Here we can see another image, and the Slender Man is once again blending in very well with the trees. 2007. Investigation team discovered 22 bodies of both genders and various ages impaled on broken tree branches in a radiating circle pattern with chest mutilations, as often noted with Slender Man. Upon confirmation, lead investigator called for an immediate evacuation of investigation team at 1700 hours. Bodies first discovered at 1100 hours. Deadline for safe evacuation of the team with only viewed physical evidence of Slender Man approximately 1730. Lost contact of team at 725. Safety procedures well within established protocols. Reason for abnormality is unknown. Second team recovered camera equipment 1 week later. Slender Man safety procedures require this incident's physical photographic evidence to be disposed of no later than 10:20. Now we can assume Victor Surge is talking. I honestly don't get what half this poo-poo means. I'm done with this Slender Man stuff. It's starting to make me uneasy. It's like reading the GBS ghost story threads before I go to bed. Why do I have to look at this stuff while it's super late? Luckily, my friend is coming over. Very next post, we have this picture, which in all honesty is kind of funny to me. It doesn't look nearly as scary. And it's kind of funny seeing Slender Man with a big mouth going, ooh. Anyway, the caption of this is, my friend is here, just came in, barely made it upstairs, got picture, locked door, but it's right there in the hall. Don't look at its picture, it doesn't want to be known about, don't loop. So this is assuming Victor Surge's friend came over. He was able to snap a picture as Slender Man came into the house. This appears to be his friend coming up the stairs, and it looks like they were attacked and killed, probably. Now we have Victor Surge talking a little bit more about how he created the Slender Man. Yeah, I wanted the last set of images to be more obvious, since the people taking the pictures kind of knew what they were dealing with, and therefore could get better shots before it wiped them out. And I kind of wanted to bring it to a close. I'm glad everyone enjoyed it, although initially it hadn't been my intent to do more past the first picture post. What essentially inspired me was stuff like the rake, since that pretty much terrified me. Having an unearthly creature such as a skinwalker or something stalking you has always been much scarier than ghosts in my opinion. For image assets I used a lot. I have a folder with about 70 different things in it. Here we have another post. The Slender Man was an idea made up off the top of my head, although the concept is based off a number of things that scare me. The name I thought up on the fly when I wrote that first bit. The asset I used for a couple of the pictures was the creepy tall guy from Phantasm, which sadly I have not seen, and other various guys in suits. All the things that aren't torso and legs, like tentacles and Slender Man's face, were painted from scratch, however. For sure, no happy endings here. Moving on, we have another post by Victor Surge. This one is a little less subtle. We have someone taking a picture in the mirror, and you can see the Slender Man right there behind them. You can even see a tentacle coming up around. This one is not as scary to me because he has like octopus tentacles. They're all like slimy and gooey, and it really doesn't look that scary. Plus he's got like angry eyebrows. But still. 1994, Wilkes Estate. One subject reported nothing out of the ordinary before taking the photograph. Lower stairs area was said to be very dark. Subject states that after the camera flashed, she heard a sound like a watermelon being unable to understand subject. Subject unable to recall events after manner power failure. Unable to question other two identified subjects. Camera and film acquired from Gloria Creedy, current resident of the Woodview Mental Hospital and Psychological Rehabilitation Clinic. Film mostly uncontaminated despite massive blood and human tissue present on the camera. No positive ID on the anomalous, tall, and slender subject. Facial blur caused by possible contamination. Early digital analysis indicates tall subject may have no eyes. Anomalies, although thought to be film errors and flash artifacts, now thought to be appendages. Final identified subject reported missing along with other 33 patients and staff of Woodview Mental Hospital and Psychological Rehabilitation Clinic, South Wing. Further inquiry to cease immediately. Alright, that's interesting. Let's go and find the other posts. This is honestly the best Slender Man picture, in my opinion. It's really good looking, it's terrifying, I like it a lot. There's no caption with this one, however we do have what appears to be somebody looking outside. They seem to have a gun in their hand. Slender Man is outside their window. Here we have a police department report. Here we can see that place of occurrence was in the front of the Empire Theater. Fog rolled in at 3 p.m. It appeared, and Evan went outside, it appears. 3:17, Mark and Evan went outside. Couldn't cover them, fog too thick, screams and sounds like a baby laughing, but deeper. It's out in the fog, we may be a little outside of town, but someone will come. Rest of us can't sleep, no food, no power. What does it want? Tom showed me that weird case file. We can see a lot of, frantic scribbling on it, and let's move on. Here we have another post. Here we have a children's drawing of somebody with Slender Man. Come to dinosaur party to celebrate Jake's birthday. Here we have a picture. This is another kind of famous one. Slender Man is seen in the background behind the tree. Here we have a newspaper clipping. Local boy disappears. Wichita. A missing 8-year-old boy, Jake Greenwood of Wichita, Kansas, has his neighborhood in an uproar. The boy went missing from his backyard approximately 5:20 p.m. on Sunday, the 19th of May. His mother reported seeing him playing near the trees of his backyard prior to his disappearance, and noticed nothing suspicious. School officials state that the weeks leading up to his disappearance that he had been irritable at school and at home, often complaining of a tall, very thin man in all black. Police declined to comment at this time. More drawings of another person. Now here we have alert, alert, deployment request, anti-S Walker unit to deploy to Wichita, Kansas. Anti-S, it appears with the expanded Slender Man universe, is basically some sort of organization that knows about Slender Man, but once again, we're not going with the expanded universe created by other people or after this original post, but I do believe that the anti-S Walker unit are the people, they do know about Slender Man, and they're kind of there to stop him and contain him, kind of like the SCP Containment Breach people. S Walker is actually what's interesting to me, because we all know him as Slender Man, but S Walker sounds almost a little more scientific, like maybe the S stands for Slender Man, maybe it stands for something else, but calling this thing a walker, it's not really, almost there's more known about it that we just don't know. It's really interesting to me, but we'll get more to that into the analysis. Here we have a quick post by Victor Surge. This is a picture that it appears someone else posted, their own little Slender Man picture. And here's what Victor Surge has to say about Slender Man. I always went to the assumption that his arms, and to a much lesser degree his legs, would change periodically. The Slender Man wants to maintain human-like proportions, but try as it might, it's always off to the point where you know something is very, very wrong. Alright, moving on to our final post. Finally, we have Victor Surge saying this. I've only, as of just the other night, had my first Slender Man nightmare. God damn it. Okay, so what does all this mean? It's an interesting question, and there's lots of, fan or non-canon, or sometimes even canon with Marble Hornets having Victor Surge kind of worked in there, or even the Slender Man movie that came out, which was not very good. But let's just focus on just this thread. So, we have a few main things. Number one, the anti-S unit, who seem to be aware of and trying to contain Slender Man, and that almost seems to be where these reports are coming from, knowing about all these people. As well, this anti-S Walker talk, as well as the fact that he's trying to maintain human proportions, makes me think that Slender Man isn't just a morphing supernatural guy. This human form he takes on is a choice, a very specific choice. My guess is the business suit and the tallness are probably to lure children and make him seem important and almost trustworthy to the people that see him. As well, being tall and the tentacles not only help with attacking people, but as you saw with the forest and how he keeps blending in with the trees, it seems like he uses it as a disguise as well. So, Slender Man seems to be almost not a real physical entity. The Slender Man seems to be a manifestation of the S Walker, whatever that is. That is what I make of this. And once again, I could be completely wrong. but it seems like Slender Man isn't even a physical entity. That's how he's able to teleport and morph. He takes this form to help disguise himself or make himself more trustworthy, but in reality, he doesn't really know how humans work. Anyway, that's just my theory. Let me know what you guys think about this kind of live interaction type video in the comments. I'm not planning on making more creepypasta files like this, but Slender Man was such a big part of internet culture, and it's so interesting finding the origin that I figured this was the best way to do it. There's a plane going by, and with that, see you guys next time.